Hello ITS subscribers, and welcome to another training video. Now in this one here I was inspired by a subscriber who had started a new post in the forums. And he made a post called Maybe a New Trading Option. It was dated on July 8th of this year, 2022, by Rue, who is one of our longer term, been here a couple of years, subscribers. And in his message he said, I've mostly used the default setting since I've joined and I've had massive losses. Maybe there is another way that we can all share in the big wins you highlight in your videos. I want to see what you are winning, and I want to play along with your strategy and have those big wins too. And what he's referring to about my big wins, now before we had the S&P drop 20, I do a newsletter, a weekend update I send out on the weekend to all subscribers, and I talk about some of the things that we're closing out and profiting on. And I didn't have this S&P drop 20, and because of Rue's suggestion I've now added this so people can now follow and trade this strategy also. At the time we were currently in one that was doing very well. It ended about a month later after Rue had made his post, but this one had been doing well. And then there is the drawdown. So you see, well, let's look here at the Russell here. Yeah, here's one that ended up making 26% that I just posted a month before. Here's one that was posted a couple months before that had made 45.54%. And then over on the NASDAQ, was posted in April, a 34% gain. Another one in April at a 35% gain. Here was one in May at a 30% gain. So I was posting all of these in the weekend update, and he was seeing all these big wins, which is why he asked me to come up with a new feature. And I did do that. We did 2 times what the default setting did. And so here is our results. As you can see, we started July 12th to October 12th. And that was, I planned to do it for 3 months. Let's see if we can beat the default ITS. And over that 3-month period, the ITS did a 10% return, which in itself is fantastic because the S&P had dropped 6%. And to just wipe out and do that much better, that's almost a 40% annualized return right there if we were to take that out for the whole year. And so what I did is I had these 2 portfolios, and one was my alternate ITS and my drawdown, and I'm going to explain to you how we did all that in just a second and how we got these returns. And so my alternate ITS did 23%, which was a lot better than the default ITS. So, you know, you might just want to do that. The drawdown wasn't as fantastic. We only had a 12% gain over there, but it was still 20% better than the default ITS. And if you do both of the portfolios, combine them together, maybe you wanted a little more diversification, a 17% gain. But I'm assuming that Rue wants something simple and easy, and if that's you, then you can just follow my alternate ITS portfolio. And you can find that in the forums. I'm going to start another one this coming Monday, which will be October 17th. So if you're not an index trading subscriber, you may wish to join, and you can follow. We're going to do it another 3 months. I'm going to do an alternate ITS and a drawdown portfolio. And again, the goal is to beat not only the markets, but the default ITS. All right, so if you log into the forums and go into that maybe a new trading option, you can, and you go to the second page and scroll all the way down to the very last post, you're going to find the drawdown. You'll see all the dates, what trades I made, what settings that were used. And here's the one for the ITS. You can see all the trades, the settings that were used. But I am planning to start, at least for the next 3 months, just to see if we can repeat this and do it again in the index trading system right here, this forum. I'm going to launch a new forum, a new topic. It's going to be right up in here. Sunday, you get the settings that I'm recommending. You can look up what those settings, what ETF those settings are recommend. And then on Monday, we're going to take our position in those ETFs near the close of the trading day. Provided, of course, that the settings that I give you when you put them into your market timing indicator, it does say the time is right. If it says the time is not right, then you're not going to start that one on Monday, and you will wait. All right, so we're going to start here with the index trading system, and we started on July 22nd, 2022, and I'm going to explain to you how I picked the bullish 2-2 in just a minute. But as you can see here, my goal was every month was to update the setting that I was going to use. So we started with July 12th, we updated it August 13th, we updated it September 13th, and then on September 16th, the bearish 3-0 setting, which is used for the S&P drop 20 strategy, that one triggered. And this one doesn't trigger that often, and when it does, it's always really right on. It's never shown a loss in the past. So my goal here was to, if the bearish 3-0 was to trigger, I would just get into that and I would continue trading that until either my 3-month period, my trial period of 3 months here is up, or the bearish 3-0 closes out, the S&P drop 20 strategy finishes and closes out. So that's how we got these timelines here. And now how I came up with these settings is kind of rather simple. If you come over to the members area, if you have your index trading system subscription, you will see a box right here that is called Trading Ideas, and this gets updated every weekend, and it gives you some settings that you can use in the future. So what I would do is every month I would come here and I would click on it, and I would see what under ITS here what the hot setting was. So when we started, the big setting was bullish 2-2. So we started off with that. That was with the TQQ, SQQ. And then when I went back, it was updated that 2-1 and 6-0 were doing really good on there. So I switched to those settings. And so on September 13th, when I went to check, 6-0 was still on there, but the bearish 2-1 had fallen off and there was a bearish 2-0. So I replaced the 2-0 for the 2-1. And then, as I mentioned earlier, when the bearish 3-0, the S&P drop 20 signal strategy tripped or signaled, then I switched over to the bearish 3-0, and we've been in that ever since. And so that's how I did it. Every month, just come here to the Trading Ideas, see what's on here. So, for example, if I was starting today, I could take bearish 2-0 with TNA TZA, and then I have an option of 6-0 with the TNA TZA or TQQ SQQ. For some diversity, I could go with the TQQ. If I want to just keep it all the same and diversify just on the Russell by using a short-term signal and a long-term one, then I could do that too. So, and of course, we also have the S&P drop 20 on here. So you could use that one for your ITS setting. So that's how I was getting those. I would just come here every month and I would do that. All right, now when it comes to the drawdown here, we got started the next day on July 13th. And I started off with bearish 3-1 using TNA and TZA. And let's go through how I picked these. All right, so when I come to pick a drawdown setting, the first thing I like to do, if I'm going to be using the system here, I like to use ones that have already finished. And so when it comes to the 17% rule, it's 4-0, 3-1, and 5-1. So when I came here on that date, the 3-1 had not fallen 40% to qualify for the 40% rule. So it was qualified under 17 and it's listed here at the 3-1, so I decided to go with this 3-1 setting. And as you can see on here, at that time it had 2 wins, 4-0 had 2 wins, and 5-1 had just finished its run on 8-12 the day before, and it had just finished, so it had not qualified to be available at that time. But there was a 4-0 and there is a 3-1, and I went with the 3-1, and let's take a look at that. We're going to click on this. Okay, so we'll go down here to, okay, so on 7/13, the 3-1 was down 33% when we started. So according to the drawdown rules, we have a 17 and we have a 40%. The 17 requires you go back to a new high. The 40% requires you go back halfway. And so we were closer to the 40% rule. So I decided to use the 40% rule and go halfway rather than going back to a new high, because that would mean we'd have to go up about 50% to get to a new high. And normally in the drawdown, your wins are 20 to 25%. Trying to push for 50, you might be stretching it. So I just wanted to go for a normal win. So I decided to use the 40% rule starting on 7/13. So according to the 40% rule, you would go half of this, and if it drops lower, you go half of that. So as we see here, it did drop to a minus 35.26. So if we take half of that, I'm just going to round it off to 36%. We're going to make it minus 18%. Okay, so when this gets to minus 18, that's when we get out. And you can see right here, it got to minus 19, and then the next day, bam, it hit the minus 15. So it hit the minus 18. If it was to be exact, it would have been minus 17 point some fraction. It hit that also. So we closed it out on 7/28, and we took our gain and we executed. We exited this trade. And if we move forward in time now, we were at minus 15. This setting is now at minus 17. So you see, it did get to a minus 6. Had we tried to push it and extend it, it wouldn't have been successful, and we would be down lower than where we sold, and we got out a long time ago. But anyway, and if we would have timed it right, I guess we could have ran it up some more. But anyway, stick to the rules, and I used the half of the 40%, and that's how I ended up exiting here when it was minus 15 on 7/28. So now that puts us back into looking for another setting. There really wasn't anything good on here, and a lot of these settings are out. For example, 4-0 is out right now. As I had mentioned, 5-1 was had come back. It's been in here since 131, so it's already had a hell of a run. I'm not going to again push that one, remember, as I just explained. And these other four were all stopped out waiting in cash, so it was basically whichever one triggers first to go to the upside is the one I would take, and that's what happened, and that's how we ended up on the 1-1 over here. Now when it came to the Russell, you can see that this 4-0, it didn't start till recently. The 5-0 didn't start till recently, and again, all of these were stopped out just like they were on the NASDAQ. And so the 1-1 on here, you see, it's not qualified under my 17% rule, and it's not qualified under my 40% rule. It's never had a closing winner, so I didn't want to use 1-1 on the Russell, so I threw that one out, and these others are still stopped out. So my only option was the NASDAQ, the 1-1 triggered, so I got into that one. But then on this one here, on October 4th, which was just 6 days ago, both of these fired, and now in hindsight, I probably should have exited the other one and got on to one of these, because 4-0 and 5-1 have been big winners, and I would have chosen 5-1 because it has more winners than the 4-0, but it didn't really matter. They both dropped. They're both at 8.67% now. So that's how I would have played it, and in the future I probably should have jumped over, because these have a better chance of winning the 17% ones. Although if things go bad, 17% could turn into 8 minus 40, whereas my 1-1 over here was already way down, so the risk is a lot less. And I decided, since we are getting close to the end anyway, I was going to close on this on the 12th, and those didn't trigger on the 4th. I just decided to finish with my TQQ
and we'll see what happens, but that hasn't worked out too well. So,
all right, that concludes this training video, and I hope you understand now how simple it is to pick a setting and be able to beat the default ITS setting. And don't forget to click our subscribe button if you like this video, and also click that notification bell so that you can be notified the next time I release a video. All right, here's to your success in the stock market. I'll see you in the next video.